got a meeting at 11:30.
I'm glad you got that bit of admin in as the record started. So
Yes, well, I'll probably, if anybody's listened to the end of the podcast recently, I have been putting Abby's most embarrassing moments at the start of the podcast, right at the end, just for everybody. The last 2 weeks,
Have you actually? I haven't listened to it.
There's a lovely couple of Abby moments. So
I haven't listened to the last one. Great. Okay, cool. Can't wait for that.
Fantastic. Well, it seems we've started anyway, so we should probably welcome any listeners to the pod. So hello and welcome to the Football in Berkshire chat podcast, or Berkshire Football Stories chat podcast, indeed. We're going to be talking about all things Berkshire Football Stories, the teams at the top of the league who have started the season well, and some perhaps who have not started quite so well as well. But before that, I should introduce who I'm speaking with. So I'm Rob Davies, your host, and with me, as always, is Tom Canning.
Hello.
And Abby Ticehurst.
Hello.
How are we going, guys? How has your week been? Abby, it's your first week. Well, it's not your first week as an employee of Ascot, but the first week as they have started their season. So going to competitive games for the first time as an employee. How's it been?
It's been a good one. 2 games, 6 points. Can't complain, can I? Really?
Absolutely.
Yeah. All good. It's been very exciting to be involved. So yeah, no complaints from me.
You've been to both. You were at both of the games, of course.
I was. Yes, absolutely.
So you started away at Windsor and had a pretty good win there.
Yeah. Solid win, absolutely, in that scorching heat as well. I mean, I was standing in the shade and I was melting, so props to them for smashing out a 90 minutes. And yeah, so nice 5-1 win there against Windsor. It's always exciting as well because obviously it's a big derby game, so the fact that we opened the season with the derby game was great. So yeah, just looking forward to the return fixture of that. And then we hosted North Greenford at the racecourse last night and snatched a 2-1 win, I think is probably the word to use there. We went in 0-0 at half time. It was super competitive as well, back and forth between both sides. And then, I got absolutely, I mean, you've ribbed me this morning already, and I got some grief from Keaton last night as well because he actually got the cross, not Ollie, for Harry Laughlin's goal. So I've done all of the sucking up. I was like, correction, I've bigged him up onto it as well. So I'm hopefully back in Keaton's good books.
Okay.
But yeah, he did also get the second goal as well. So yeah,
Man of the match performance, it sounds like.
It was indeed. He did indeed get player of the match. So yeah, no, it's been a good week for us so far, definitely.
Fantastic. You mentioned about the heat on Saturday. Didn't you have a bit of an unusual event in terms of the officiating as well?
Yeah, shout out to Dave Thompson, who is one of our coaches at Ascot. He ended up having to run the line in the second half because our poor lineswoman ended up with heat stroke. So it was either void the match or can we find someone? And luckily, Dave is actually a qualified, he has got qualifications as well. He's not just we've not just plucked him out from the spectators. So yeah, we had to think about that one sharpish.
I think this is where we were at cross purposes when we were chatting about this last night in our big group.
I was just really offended, I'll be honest, Tom.
Well, no, because so in junior football or certainly junior football, any old mug can, they'll ask around for a mum or a dad. But I was sort of I was alluding to the fact that you do it in the senior levels, you do at least need to have a qualification, whereas Sunday League, I can do it.
Yes, Dave is qualified. Also, what junior matches do you think I'm going to watch?
Well, I don't.
Who would I possibly be watching? I don't have kids.
It might be part of your role. It might be, part of your new role as, at Ascot.
No, it was definitely combined counties, Ascot versus Windsor. So, and yes, I would like to just quite clarify. Dave does have a qualification, so we didn't just pluck him out of the air.
Very good indeed. And then, General, how are you finding match days as an employee rather than a spectator or a fan?
No, it's really fun. I'm actually really enjoying it. It's good fun. The only thing is that I can't get a pint at half time, but that's all right.
You make up for it full time, I'm sure.
Tom's got his finger up.
Tom's got his finger up like he wants to say something.
We've got a man in the green room, guys.
Oh, we've got a man in the green room. So yeah, maybe we'll curtail the Ascot chat for now. But they're
And Tom, we won't ask you how you are. Don't care.
No, that's
exactly.
Fine.
Yeah,
no one cares.
We haven't got your preamble, and we haven't got the Ascot chat. But Ascot are second in the league at the moment, 2 wins from 2. But joining us now, if we don't mind a crunching gear change, is Dan Wakely. How are you doing, Dan?
Yeah, very well, thank you. Yourself?
Yeah, pretty good, thanks. Nice to hear from you. So, Dan, you're the right in saying the secretary at Tadley Calleva.
No, I'm on the committee, but not the secretary. No.
Okay.
Not yet, anyway.
I'm sure you get there at some point if you stick around long enough. Very good. So, you very kindly said you'd come and join us and talk Absolutely, a bit about Tadley's start of the season. You perhaps a little bit of a slow start before last night. We're recording on Wednesday for our listeners here. So, why don't you talk us through your start of the season?
Yeah, so, I mean, on paper, we had a very good pre-season. Picking up, we lost one game in pre-season, one draw, and then won the rest. So, before the FA Cup game, we were quite confident going into that. Again, on paper, Wincanton in step 6, so you've got to say we were favourites on paper, but it didn't end that way. We shipped 6 goals, 3 very early, and I mean the game was over by then. Coming on to the league game on Saturday, just gone. Again, similar story, 5 goals conceded. So going into last night, there was a bit of concern about whether we could hold out if we were solid defensively. And then we went 2-0 down. So we all thought it was going to be another long evening. But, I mean, the last 15 minutes was just a bit, I want to say organised chaos. It was a bit of a chaotic final 15 minutes. We scored from a goal out of nowhere, really. A great finish into the top corner. 3 minutes later, we won the ball again. Managed to get into the penalty box, and our forward was taken down. Got a penalty, made it 2-2, and then literally with the final kick of the game, the ball broke through, took it around the keeper and put it in for a last-minute winner. So the game completely turned on its head in the last 15, and we managed to pick up our first points of the season, which was obviously brilliant. So we actually had a good crowd last night of 109, which is a massive improvement on our average from last season. So hopefully that continues. Very good indeed. I hear you were also having to keep the manager updated due to an incident earlier in the game. Yeah. So Farnham's second goal yesterday was a bit contentious. We thought the keeper had the ball in his hand and got tackled. Got a bit heated on the sideline. Manager was sent off. So he was down by the bar on his phone, communicating with the assistant manager, and the substitutions were made, and the game turned in his head. So it might be a bonus for a few games and not being on the touchline. We'll never know. Might give you another job to do on match days, I guess. Absolutely, yeah, definitely. So, Tadley been shifted over from the combined counties north to the combined counties south this season. Well, last season was your first in the combined counties north, having come over from the Wessex divisions. How have the different divisions been for Tadley? I mean, how are you finding the combined counties in general, and then what are your early experiences of the combined counties south? I mean, yes, it's the third league in three seasons for us, so it's been changed year on year. The main difference I can see personally is the combined counties north and south are a lot more physical compared to the Wessex, where I feel the Wessex is a lot more technical in terms of play and the style of play from teams. I personally enjoy the combined counties more from that side of the game. I prefer the teams we're playing they just have that more professional feel about them. I'm not sure how the Wessex teams would take that, but if you look at the likes of, you've got Guildford, obviously Ascot, teams like that, Fleet, who used to be quite big, play at a high level. So I much prefer the combined counties. Comparing north and south, I can't say massively at the moment. The north, obviously, as we went into it last season, it was a big shift in terms of the physicality compared to the technical of the Wessex. So I mean, after last night, I'm much preferring the South. That little bubble of getting the last minute winner. But yeah, I suppose just going to have to see how the next few games go. The next 5 games will tell a lot in comparison to the leagues, and obviously an added bonus of Jersey being in the Combined Counties South. So we'll get a nice little away day there.
Very nice. Yeah, we're all looking forward to when that fixture comes out, and
absolutely,
booking hopefully a late summer holiday or an early summer one next year. Go on,
or
Tom.
a nice winter break in the rain.
Yeah.
Which is
Dan,
probably what it's going to be.
Dan, just before you run off, I know you've got to go back to work. You are covering the Allied counties for us this season.
I am. Yeah.
What are you working on at the moment?
So at the moment, I've been looking to speak to. Well, I've spoken to a few managers pre-season, just seeing how their plans are developing and how their pre-season's going. What I am working on currently is a season preview, especially for the Berkshire-based sides in the Allied counties. So again, trying to get back at those managers and some more, I guess, just to speak to them in terms of how they think the season's going to progress. Have a little background about them, the club, how they're setting up this season. And just go from there. So season preview coming up, and then the FA Cup, the FA Youth Cup has started this week actually, with a few Allied counties from outside the Berkshire region playing this week. So I'll be looking at that as well when the Berkshire-based sides do come into that. And then from there, match reports and updating the results and bits and pieces like that going on through the season. So yeah, I'm excited to get going on that. Looking forward to watching a few youth teams and see how they develop. Hopefully get some players going through into the senior sides as the season goes on. So yeah, it's going to be exciting for me. It's something I've not done before, so looking forward to it.
Very good. And before you go, Dan, Tadley, obviously, as we mentioned, the Combined Counties South, so Step 5 this year. What do you think we can expect from Tadley? Before the season in our WhatsApp group, you were quite hopeful. Is that still the case, or is that what are you hoping for?
If you'd have asked
this
me
season?
this question the same time yesterday, I would say I would be very nervous about the way the season was going. But I mean, hopefully yesterday will show the desire that we do have. We could have rolled over again yesterday and just taken another defeat. But I think if we carry on now, if we get a few more good results, I mean, anything's possible this early in the season. So I'd take a mid-table, really, establish ourselves within the league, go again, just keep improving.
Oh, have we lost him?
I think we may have done.
I think we might have lost Dan. Very sadly, he's been cut off there. But unfortunately, still nice to hear from him and get a bit of insight into Tadley and how they're going this season. And I think he was quite happy with the last-minute victory last night, judging by the text on our WhatsApp group. Yeah, there were certainly different emotions in our WhatsApp group last night. Some quite happy, some, myself, should we say, less so. But
what happened, Rob? Tell us. Story time.
I was going to say I'll wait for later to tell you that, but why not? I went to the Hungerford game last night, and my emotions weren't so much a reflection on the quality of the game, although it was a 0-0. But on my journey over there, they shut the M25. They're playing at St Albans, and the M25 was shut due to an accident. So I spent a long time sat on the M25, not moving anywhere. And by the time I got there, there was no parking anywhere near the ground. So I had to drive around for ages to try and find a parking space. And then by the time I got in, it was midway through the first half. Didn't see any goals. Saw quite a good rearguard defensive display by Hungerford. They really they were under the cosh a lot and were quite impressive in defence. Although, as we say, the game finished 0-0, and then I had a long walk back to my car in the rain. So not ideal, not the best away day in supporter experience, shall I say? But you get those sometimes, don't you? So it's all part of being a non-league football fan.
Should have gone to Ascot or Tadley, shouldn't you?
Should have gone to Ascot or Tadley, or many of the other, or even Maidenhead. In fact, even Maidenhead, who seem to be having quite a a nice little run in the National League so far, having played Scunthorpe and beaten them at the weekend 3-2. They backed that up with a 2-0 victory over Altrincham last night. 2 home games, 2 victories, and yeah, Tom, you seem to have coined a verb. Describing a certain type of performance with teams like from teams like Maidenhead.
Yeah, it's a Devonshire. They've been Devon to be Devonshired, and so a Devonshire is essentially it is. There's three strands to a quintessential Devonshiring, and I will tell you what those are. No, there's kind of 3 strands to it. You have to be an ex-Football League club. I think that you'll hear from Neil Maskell in a minute, but I think a team such as Dagenham and Redbridge do count. So there could be another Devonshiring this weekend. But yes, an ex-Football League club, colloquially known as a belt club. Second thing is there must be complaints about the York Road pitch on social media before the match, particularly mentions of the slope or it's a cow field or something like that. Clearly, these lads have never played on a cow field. And bonus points there for use of the word tin pot somewhere in that. And then the third thing and I think the first two are a basic Devonshiring, a quintessential Devonshiring will allow Maidenhead to be several goals up or a goal up. Your team brings a couple of goals back, it gets close. You think, we're almost there, and then Dev just has the last laugh. Maidenhead win, and we did have that on Saturday. Maidenhead 3-0 up. Scunthorpe got 2 back. Oh, we could. No, you won't. And I think they did the same to Wrexham last season. It's happened a couple of times, and there is a bingo card as well. But I'll let people go to the website and we'll just type in Devonshire verb into Google, and you'll find the piece. But I think that's a quintessential Devonshiring. We are working on T-shirts.
Absolutely, Maidenhead's record against the ex-non-league teams, especially ones that sort of recently been in the division, is actually very good. And at the weekends, they probably would have feared the worst, having lost their opening game against Notts County, who are expected to be right up there this season. Scunthorpe won their opening game, and coming to York Road, perhaps having been relegated last season from League Two, would have expected to roll over Maidenhead, but they were in for a rude awakening. And 3-2 victory there, backed up, as we said, by the 2-0 win on Tuesday night against Altrincham. And Maidenhead now sitting, early days, of course, but sitting 5th in the division. So ahead of most of those belt clubs. But yeah, very nice start to the season for Maidenhead so far. Right, who should we move on to now? Bracknell?
Why not?
Bracknell, indeed. Talking of teams who've had a very nice start to the season, Bracknell have started life in step 3, swimmingly. They more or less picked up where they left off. They had 7 points from their first 3 games. Were briefly top of the table on Monday night. I believe they've been overtaken now, but looked like they've taken to step 3. Like a duck to water. Where do you want to play the interview with Neil?
Should we just do it? I can do it now. We could do
it. So Neil was at the game on Monday night when Bracknell won 4-1 against Harrow, and this is what he had to say.
Neil, you have just joined us very quickly. You can't join us on the podcast live, unfortunately, because you are busy working. But you were at Bracknell on Monday night and you were hugely impressed. Tell us about it.
Yeah, they're excellent, Tom. If I'm honest, it's the first time I've seen them for a couple of years. I saw their game 2 years ago, I think it was, against Havant in the FA Trophy. They were excellent in that game against a team 2 divisions higher at the time. And then a player sent off that evening. What I was pleasantly surprised by was the intensity, Tom, of Bracknell. I see a team go 3-1 up and expect to slow the game down. Not a bit of it. They're still pouring forward. They were relentless the whole game. They had a little setback when they scored within 2 minutes, which kind of sums up the intensity. Harrow equalised with a very good goal that caught Bracknell by surprise, really, matter of minutes later. But they were just on it the whole game. And if ever a team was a reflection of their manager, it's Bracknell, as Bobby was urging instructions from the touchline. And it was a really first visit for me to the ground over at Sandhurst. I've been to Largest Lane many times. And the setup, there's a real buzz about the place. Nearly 400 in. If ever a club is geared up for, I don't want to jinx them early in the season. If ever a club is geared up for a good season, it's Bracknell, 100%.
Obviously, we know a lot about Seb Bauman. We've seen him come up through the leagues, but he impressed you on Monday night. But someone else really caught your eye.
Yeah, George Knight in the middle of the park, I thought was unbelievable. He was everywhere. Really impressive player, kind of player I like. Keeps it nice and tidy, doesn't waste a pass. Happy to get a tackle in. Did his own little bit of refereeing as well. He's one of those. He was really impressive. First time I think I've seen him. Don't know much about his history. I was at the Maidenhead game on Tuesday night, and one of our supporters was asking me about Bracknell and Bauman in particular, but I said it was Knight who really impressed me. He looks a really key player in that team.
Excellent. Just talking of Maidenhead, obviously they administered a firm Devonshiring on Saturday. Do you think something similar on Saturday? Did Dagenham and Redbridge count as an ex-league club?
They certainly do. They were a League One team, weren't they? Got as far as League One before coming back down. Perhaps not the most obvious one you'd think of. They've started the season slowly, but it's a ground we don't have a great record at. So, look, I'm going to do my usual defensive position, I think. And when full-time whistle went against Altrincham, I said that gives us a free hit for Saturday. Dev won't see it like that, and will probably tell me off for being negative, but it does give us a bit of a free hit against a team with a healthy budget. So they will be good, and they will come to life at some stage. Their front two are ridiculous. Marias and McCallum always cause us problems. So listen, we're going in confidence, clean sheet and 2 wins. So what more can you ask for?
Obviously, as relegation certainties this season, being 5th must be pretty pleasing at the moment. Obviously, 3 games in.
Yes, stop the count, I think, was a comment on Twitter last night. Well, listen, it just goes to show how quickly it changes, doesn't it? 10 days ago, we lost at Notts County. We came 3rd, I think, that day. We were so far behind them on the afternoon, rather. They are going to be a top side. They're going to be in the top 5 at the end of the season. We realistically aren't. So to come back and win those 2 home games, I've been doing a bit of number crunching. I think that's the first time that we've won both first 2 home games of a National League season. And that's going to be our bread and butter, Tom. We only won 3 on the road last year. So we've got to win those home games or pick up points where we can. So clean sheets help too.
Brilliant, mate. Get back to work.
I will have to, I'm afraid. I look forward to listening to the pod.
See you later.
Cheers, mate. Bye-bye.
Bye.
The ever insightful Neil Maskell there. Certainly enjoying himself going to see the other grounds, and with Maidenhead's good start to the season. What can we, going back to Bracknell, what can we realistically expect from them this season? Go on, Tom.
I mean, the way they've started, they've played Weston, they've played Merthyr, they've played Harrow Borough, all established higher level teams. So I think at this very early stage, if they don't finish in the playoffs, at least they'll be disappointed.
Yeah, I think that was always going to be their objectives. Like I say, I mentioned they were top of the table. They're actually still top of the table, although Truro and I think one of the club have a game in hand. Truro and Swindon Supermarine have 2 from 2, and they haven't played their 3rd games. But the only team they've dropped points to, admittedly, in this early stage of the season, is the team who are currently in 2nd, Western Supermare. I think they're going to be a handful for teams this season, and they're certainly going to be in and around the promotion places. Whether they have it quite all their own way, like they did last season, I think remains to be seen. I think they'll probably be slightly concerned, or not concerned, but their defence isn't quite as sturdy as it was last year. Obviously, it was always going to be tough to maintain that record, but I think they'll be looking for a couple of clean sheets in their next few games to try and sort of retain that defensive solidity they had in the last season. But I mean, anyone sort of betting against them being right up there at the end of the season is braver than me, because they look good again, don't they?
They do indeed. They do indeed.
Absolutely. Okay, so before we start looking ahead to the fixtures, at the next weekend, we've got a few cup draws to mention. So the Bucks and Berks Women's Senior Cup and Trophy have been drawn, Abby. And why don't you talk us through the highlights of those draws?
Yes, so I think obviously a little bit of bias here from me, but Ascot have drawn Maidenhead at home, so I think that should be a tasty tie indeed. So Ascot are a Southern Region Premier League side and Premier Division, and Maidenhead are our National League side. So I think that should be exciting. So it's going to be another Football in Berkshire derby, as it's Abbey versus Maskell. So that should be a good one. Woodley will host Long Crendon as well, and then our other Berkshire side is Reading, and they will play against Milton United. So just trying to think who was the winner of that last season. I think it was Chesham, but I feel like I might have made that up. But yeah, so some good ties. So that will be Sunday the 18th of September. They are set to be played. And then there's also the Women's Trophy as well. So that's our tiers, like 7 teams. So yeah, I should say that the Senior Cup is our tier 5 and 6 teams, and then the Trophy is our tier 7 teams. So quite a few of our teams have actually got buys into the next round because they had pretty good cup runs last season. But there's a few Berkshire sides who kick things off in the first round. So Raysbury are in there. They're at home. Caversham AFC, Tadley United, S4K. So they're all at home. And then there's a few of our Berkshire sides. One of those will be a Berkshire kind of derby style thing. So S4K play Burfield. But yeah, other than that, lots of other of our Buckinghamshire clubs as well. Obviously, we are Bucks and Bucks. So yeah, that will be also played on Sunday, the 18th of September. So just a few cup games to look out for there.
Lovely job. Okay, probably time to look forward to the weekend. Now, we still don't have any women's football, so I want to come to you, Abby, and let you talk us through probably the biggest game of the weekend from a Berkshire perspective. It's the preliminary round of the FA Cup, and
Yes.
we have an all Berkshire tie. It's Holyport taking on Ascot. Why don't I let you speak to that one?
So that is a repeat of last season's extra preliminary round tie, as Ascot played Holyport in that. So yeah, I think it's going to be really exciting. So it's at Holyport, so at Summerlees. Should be good. I think obviously both sides had good extra preliminary round sides, and Holyport making history, didn't they? Making it through to the preliminary round. So yeah, I think basically everyone should just be at Holyport on Saturday, because I think it's going to be a really exciting tie. Yeah, I don't know. I don't want to give too much away again.
Don't want to jinx it, but Holyport have started reasonably well. They've picked up 2 points from 3 games. It doesn't sound, too impressive, but they've been very competitive in all the games they played. Last season, they were sort of cut adrift at one point and managed to fight their way back, but they played some decent sides and have started to pick up points. So, pretty good start from Holyport. I'm sure Ascot won't be taking them lightly, but Ascot probably favourites for this one, considering their start to life at Step 5 this season.
Yes, that's all I'm going to say.
You don't want to jinx it there.
No, exactly.
Okay, well, other games, as you mentioned, Holyport making history in the last round, winning in the FA Cup for the first time, their 9th attempt. Their first ever preliminary round game in the FA Cup, so a big occasion for them there. And Virginia Water, the exact same. They are they won the first time ever in the FA Cup and are through to the preliminary round for the first time. They had 4 previous attempts, so they will be facing Eastbourne Town. Reading City are away at Royal Wootton Bassett, who beat Windsor in the previous round. And Binfield come into the competition at this round, and they will be playing away at Kidlington. Any of those take your fancy, Tom? Where would you be going if you get to a game this weekend?
The most likely thing is I'll be going to, if I can get to a game, it'll be at Tadley this weekend, so not an FA Cup one. But I would be very curious to go and see Reading City at the moment because they've started very well, and Simon Johnson is always entertaining. So that's what I'd be doing.
Yeah, I'm actually eyeing up the Wallingford versus Reading City game on Tuesday night. I think I might be popping along to that one, see a couple of our sides and see how they are getting on. Okay, so who are Tadley playing this weekend then, Tom? Why don't you talk us through that one?
Oh, I don't know. Oh, God.
Well, they're playing AFC Croydon Athletic at Barlow's Park. So
I did know that. I just saw that they were at home, and I did my footballogy to check what the closest game was, and that was it. I took no notice of who the opposition was whatsoever.
Dear, oh dear. Good. Okay. Well, yeah. After that, what do we look at? Is there any other fixtures? Okay, you'll be going to Tadley. So, what other fixtures
can we wrap this up?
Take your fancy across all the divisions.
Well, I think Berks County.
Yes, good.
I've tried to message you on the internal StreamYard chat, the WhatsApp chat, because I'm going to have to go in a minute, so you might have to finish the podcast between you. But I need to do the technical bit for the Berks County fun thing that we were going to do.
Okay, so Berks County are playing at home to Westside at Binfield Football Club this weekend. Last season, they almost completed a pretty extraordinary stat where they scored every number of goals between 1 and 10 in their games across the season, but they did miss out 6 goals. This season, they've already hit that number, and you've done a little jingle to see if they can, or a little GIF here to see if we can hit every single number this season. Why don't you show what you've done, Tom?
I just want to apologise to everybody at Berks County, but I think we'll try and carry this on through the season. Here we go. 3.
I'm not apologising. I think this is fun.
3, 2, 1. Oh, well, that worked well, didn't it?
That didn't play.
And it didn't work.
Oh, I put it. It's the wrong one. It's the wrong one. That's ruined it. Here we go. There you go.
That was it. That's our swords count. This is a really good, for our podcast listeners who will just hear a little jingle as your GIF comes up on the screen of the graphic.
Do they win a speedboat if they get all 10? Like at the end of Bullseye.
Yes, they do.
Berkshire speedboat.
Yes.
Yeah.
Just a little one.
Just either a speedboat or a couple of pints from Double Barreled. I'm not sure. Whichever the budget stretches to.
Yes.
Well, before you get out of here, Tom, is there anything else you want to plug, or are you going to leave on that sour note?
No. Talking of Double Barreled, I am very pleased to announce that Ding is the official lager of the goal of the month competition.
Nice.
So we will be launching that this week. So get your videos in. Look out for that. I'm really sorry. I am going to have to jump off actual work calls, and I can only apologise for everything that's happened so far that I've messed up. So I'll leave you two guys to it, and I'll speak to everybody later.
Well, cheerio, Tom. I'm not sure we have too much more. We've gone through most of the things in our list, but any games you'd be looking at this weekend, Abby, outside of the Ascot one?
I actually probably would tick off that Berks County one as well. I think that's quite, they're having an exciting season. It's a little 1-2 at the top at the moment, isn't it, in Division 1 with Sandhurst number 1 and Berks County number 2. So I think that could be an exciting rivalry happening in the county this season. So, I think I'd probably be tempted to go there as well, to be fair.
Absolutely, yeah. Those two teams looking really good, both scoring a lot of goals. Sandhurst at home to Brookhouse on Saturday. So if you fancy going to see either of those sides or any other of our Berkshire sides, get on over to the Football in Berkshire website where you can find all the fixtures and pick a game that's good for you. Okay, well, as Tom's gone, Abby, why don't you do the plugging for the social media and all of that? I'll let you tell everyone where to find all our output.
Noted. I'm just going to do another plug just before that as well. So people may have seen that Caversham United have released a delicious kit with their new charity partner, Sport in Mind. So Sport in Mind are a local Berkshire mental health charity, and they are rightly so here, there, and everywhere with people. Lots of people are jumping on board with them. So they've partnered up with Berks County FA as well, which is really exciting. But so Caversham have released a shirt with them in conjunction with their striker Joe Hales. You should go and check him out actually on social media. So he's been very candid about the fact that during lockdown he tried to commit suicide, and so thankfully he's still here with us, and so they wanted to do something in order to kind of honour that, I suppose. So they've with Phantom, who is one of their sponsors, they've decided that they're going to release a charity kit, and we at Football in Berkshire have got the final kit that was released. So they did a sort of deadline thing. You can only get it for a month, and we've got the final one. So if you head over to Football in Berkshire and then find our ticket pass, you can buy the shirt. Essentially, we're raffling one off. It's just £3 a ticket, so absolute bargain to win that shirt. And all of the proceeds go to charity. So obviously to Sport in Mind, but also a few of our nominated charities as well. So absolutely get involved in that because it is a dreamy looking shirt. But yes, so in terms of our social media, you can head on over to search for us Football in Berkshire, and there's also FIB Women. We're on Instagram as well. We're also on Facebook. Tom's also got on with our LinkedIn these days as well. So we also are here, there, and everywhere. So head over to any of those. And if you just want to head over to the website to see all of our goodness, everything's kind of, it's the season now, isn't it? And so there's lots of exciting stuff on there. So it's just www.footballinberkshire.co.uk.
Very good and well done. All right. Well, that's about it from us. All that's left to say is thank you very much for listening. We've been the Football in Berkshire podcast. I have been your host, Rob Davies, and ably joined as ever by Abby Ticehurst. So say goodbye, Abby.
See ya.
And it's goodbye from